My name is Joseph Bruno, and I will be discussing some of the basic concepts behind Microsoft Excel spreadsheets. This clip is about working with formulas in Excel. You may have a different version of Excel, but all of the concepts I explain here will be the same for your version, it just may look a little different. You will be using Excel to perform calculations. In this clip, I will be using just two of Excel's pre-programmed functions. Excel has over 340 pre-programmed functions. You can create your own, however, so the possibilities are limitless. Let's take a look at where you can find the pre-programmed functions in Excel. We have Sum under this Auto Sum button up here in the ribbon, where you can add a group of numbers using the Sum function, average a group of numbers, count numbers, find the maximum number in a list of numbers, or find the minimum number in a list of numbers. We could click here on More Functions, and a window opens that says Insert Function, and there are more functions listed in that list. We could also click over here. Up here at the bottom of the ribbon, we see this little F next to a little X. That means f of x, or function. When we click on that, the Insert Function box appears again. You will see, however, that there are not 340 functions written here. Other functions can be found up here under Formulas, and there are logical functions, financial functions, math and trig functions, and more functions. For now, we will be sticking with basic auto sum type functions. Excel is programmed to find patterns and use some helpful features. Here, I'm going to use the fill down feature. I'm going to put a number in a cell. Let's say C2, I'm going to put a 2. And now I want to fill all of the cells in this column with 2s. I simply click on the bottom right of cell C2 and drag down to C30, and all of those columns from C2 to C30 are now filled with 2s. I could replicate words, formulas, or numbers from any of these cells. I can also replicate patterns. For instance, I'm going to type in a 3 in D2, and I'm going to type a 5 in D3. Now I'm going to highlight both of those boxes. I'm going to click in the bottom right of that new, larger box, and I'm going to drag down all of these other cells in column D. You might expect it to say 3, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5. But in fact, it says 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, etc. Microsoft Excel recognized that there was a sequence here. 3 plus 2 is 5, then it continued that sequence. 7, 9, 11, 13, etc. Now, using these numbers, we can see how some of the AutoSum functions work. I will start with Sum. When I highlight the cell underneath all of these 2's here in column C, that is cell C31, I can now go underneath the AutoSum button, click the little arrow, and go to Sum, and now the notation appears in C31 that says equals sum, parentheses, C2 to C30. You'll also notice that those cells are highlighted to help you see what it's going to find the sum of. This notation in the box means that this is a formula. The equal sign means that it's a formula, and then sum, parentheses, C2 to C30 means just what we would expect it to mean. It's going to add up all of those numbers. I hit enter, and yes, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, etc. adds up to 58. Notice if I click up here on the right, in cell E4, for example, I can use the Auto Sum feature again. I go underneath Auto Sum, click Sum, enter, and it obtains the answer of 9, because it found automatically the sum of the number in C4 plus the number in D4, and we obtained 9. It automatically found the sum of the numbers directly to the left of E4. Let's find the average of a list of numbers in the same way. Can you recall finding the average of a group of numbers without a computer program? Adding all of the numbers in a list together, then dividing by however many numbers there are in the list, This is very laborious to do by hand, even with a calculator. In grade school, I learned to hate statistics because of this. Remember adding all the numbers, but then maybe you forgot one or you counted wrong and then the average came out incorrect? The Excel program changes what it means to do statistics, and in this case makes it much faster with perfect accuracy. Back where we found the sum function, there's also an average function. By highlighting cell D31, which is the cell directly below all of the other numbers that I have listed in column D, then finding average under AutoSum, now the average notation appears, equal sign average parentheses D2 to D30. I hit enter, and now the average of those cells appears. It says 31, that certainly sounds right. The average should be somewhere toward the middle, and 31 is somewhere toward the middle of 3 and 59. We can use an AutoSum function on any list of numbers on this spreadsheet that we choose. First, choose any cell in which you would like the calculation to appear. I will choose cell H10. Now I'm going to find the sum of the numbers in cells D8 through D35. Okay, I just need to highlight H10 again. Go to AutoSum, click the little arrow, and I get the sum function appears. And now I need to highlight these cells that I want to find the average of. I forgot what I said. I'm going to do D7 through D41. Okay. I'm sorry, D7 through D21. I click enter, and the average of those numbers appears. I'm sorry, the sum of those numbers appears, because I was using the sum function. I will do the same for finding the average. First, I'll select or highlight a cell in which I want the average to appear. I'm going to select cell H14. Now I'm going to select the average function from over here under AutoSum. The notation for average appears, equals average parentheses H10 to H13. It thinks I want to find the average of some numbers that I haven't written here yet. So I need to highlight some new cells. I'm going to find the average of some numbers in column D. First, however, what if I forgot what average means? I can click down here where it says average in this little box that appeared down below. If I click there and my internet is working, a window will appear that will tell me what the average is. I'm not going to do that now, but you can try that later on your own. For now, I'm going to highlight boxes, let's say D7 through D21 again. This time, the average of those numbers will appear in cell H14. Got it. We can also write our own formula. To write formulas, use the plus sign on your keyboard, use the subtraction sign on your keyboard or the hyphen, use the asterisk for multiplication, and use the backslash for division. So for instance, I'm going to make a simple addition formula. I'm going to erase this 9 here in E4, and I'm going to highlight E2. In that box, I'm going to type equals C2 plus D2 and hit enter. And a 5 appears. By typing in an equal sign, that is what indicated to Excel that I was about to type in a formula. If I just typed in C2 plus D2, Excel might think I was typing in some kind of a strange robot name or something. By typing in equals C2 plus D2, it told Excel that I was entering a formula, and that C2 refers to cell C2, and that D2 refers to cell D2. And of course, the plus sign means that I'm adding them. Now, let's see what happens if I click in the bottom right of that cell and drag down to cell E30. You might have expected all of the cells to have a 5 in them, because you might have remembered from earlier when I typed in a 2 in C2 and dragged down, a 2 appeared in all those other boxes. Or you might have said, no, we didn't just type a 5 in E2, we typed a formula into E2, and the formula was C2 plus D2. But C2 has a 2 in it, and D2 has a 3 in it. So you still might have thought we would have gotten 5s in all of these cells in column E. Excel found a pattern. Excel has found a pattern that most of the time we would want to find the sum of all of the numbers in column C plus each of the numbers in column D. And that is more common than simply putting a 5 in every box. So Excel assumed that that's what we wanted to do, and it did that for us. The computer software is programmed to do something we did not tell it to do. This actually makes sense. Remember when we created the D column? Excel is programmed to find patterns and continue them, since that is often what is most convenient. Here, most people would want to add each of the numbers in the C column to each of the numbers in the D column. So this is what Excel assumes you want to do when you click and drag this formula. Shortcuts like these are only convenient, however, if you know about Excel from practicing with it. So, I encourage you to keep practicing and discover more of what this powerful program can do to help you organize data.